Hey guys, I'm Danny Bird from Bayou Bushcrafting Survival here on the Gulf Coast, and we got a freak snowstorm going on. This is my first video that I'm uploading to this channel, so if you're just now joining in, I appreciate it, guys. So I'm going to show you how to build a fire. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this going. Got a piece of fat wood I've drilled into this log, hammered it in this log. I've got the shavings right here. Got another piece right here. I'm just going to go ahead and make a few more shavings while I'm talking. So what you want to try and do is get a really good pile going of these shavings so that they'll catch a spark from a ferro rod. Now if this was a real survival situation, just use a Bic lighter. If for any reason your Bic lighter fails, then that's when you resort to the ferro rod, okay? I'm just going to show you with the ferro rod because I want you to see that it can be done. Fat wood can be collected from, you can buy it, or you can just collect it from a pine tree, usually one that's already fallen on the ground or something like that, or you can get it from where the limb meets the trunk of the tree. And if you hack into that with a knife or hatchet, you can find the fat wood, and it works wet or dry. And it's usually my primary means of getting a fire started, other than using a Bic lighter, of course. But this is not an emergency situation, and in case you hear cars in the background, things of that nature, I am outside my house, okay? So just to get this started, this is my little pocket fire kit. You see I got a Bic lighter attached to this, and a piece of fat wood and a ferro rod. Using the back of your knife, and hopefully your knife has a good 90-degree spine. This here is an Opinel number 12. It's got a really good spine on it, so there we go. I just do the other there for extra benefit. Now we can try and manipulate this, but you gotta be really careful. You don't want to do anything that's going to put it out, and I'm hoping this is not going to happen to me while I'm sitting here talking to y'all on my very first video. I made lots of fires, generally in dry conditions, but I have done it in the rain as well. And we just got to get that built up around this centerpiece so that centerpiece will catch. And because that fat wood is so long, once it does catch, it will go all the way up the stick. Now, again, I'm gonna do this while I'm talking to you. This wood has been collected up off the ground. Some of it was collected from hanging tree limbs, I should say. You need to use really small stuff, and this is not as small as I would like, and strictly because of the fact that you got to try and dry this out. And we'll try to stack this around it so that that heat will start to dry down. Now hopefully this will start catching here shortly. It's not doing like I want it to. I'll try and manipulate that just a little bit. See, I've already caught that on fire. Hopefully that'll catch here shortly. I'm going to try to take this stuff here that's, you hear that snap? That's what you want. It means it's dry. It's damp. I can feel the dampness in it, okay? We'll just start trying to build stuff around it, and I guess you call it TP fashion. And this will just get that wood, hopefully, the small stuff. You see how small that is. Hopefully that'll start catching here. That's bigger than what I want, so. We want the small stuff right next to it. I don't know if I can get that in there. The smaller stuff I can get in there, the better. That center piece is catching now. It's such a thick piece. Hopefully it's gonna stay lit, because my shavings down here are already starting to burn up. I'm gonna keep trying to pile some this wood, these smalls up here. You need a lot of smalls, guys. And I'm not building a sustainment fire, okay? I'm just trying to show you that you can get a fire started. And I wanted to make sure I did it with not the best of materials, and believe me, this is not the best of materials. Because everything is damp. Everything is very, very damp. So it's starting to catch, and hopefully as that catches, this other stuff will start to dry out more. Normally I don't get really particular with a TP fire, as they say, or a log cabin fire. I just get a pile of wood up, usually small stuff like this, get my initial flame going, and once I've got it, you know, my tinder source, which could be a bird's nest, which we'll get into that. It's starting to go pretty good now. Could be a bird's nest that you made out of straw, leaves, whatever the case may be, different grasses and so forth. And once you get that going, then you just keep coming back, adding more stuff to it. You never want to put more stuff over the fire, over your flames. You want to make sure your flames have risen up high enough above it before you start adding more kindling to it. Once you get that going good, your bigger stuff will start to catch, and then you can start adding, you know, stuff the size of your wrist eventually. Like I said, I did not prep a lot of wood for this. You can see the wind. It's playing havoc on this. There's snow on the ground. And I am right outside my house, okay? So if you hear things in the background like cars going by, I actually live right next to a school. I'm gonna wipe the camera here. I live right next to a school, so even when school's out, you'll hear the bells or the change of the classes, as you might call it. So you might hear that in the background on some of these videos. If I get off into the woods, I won't have that problem. But if I'm doing it out here, I got to contend with that. That was one piece of fat wood that I used to build all this with. And it's catching good now. Starting to dry some of that stuff out. And like I said, this stuff was off the ground. Most of it. A few pieces I got that were up off the ground. The limbs were down, but they were, you know, these little small pieces like this were up off the ground. So just wanted to do this for the first video, since I hadn't actually made any videos, and I've been wanting to do this, but I know there's not going to be an opportunity where I would get snow again. So ferro rod, Bic lighter. I like fat wood for to get my fire started with, only because it's so prevalent. It's everywhere. And if you've got pine trees around, or any type of trees that have sap in them, you can use pine cones for that as well. Also, there's Tender Quicks. There's different types of fire making devices that are basically waterproof. Fat wood is waterproof to a certain extent. The great thing about a ferro rod, wet or dry, it works as far as filling the sparks go. So we've got a really good fire going now. I mean, this thing is huge. And from this right here, I could walk off and start collecting larger pieces if I didn't already have them, and then I could start putting that on there. So just let this go for just a second, guys. When you do go to make your fire, especially in these conditions or damp conditions, make sure that, try not to do it right on the ground, okay? This log was covered in snow. So but you see, even with that covered in snow, I can still get it going, especially since I had that fat wood. But put a layer of wood on the ground first. And if you can get some straw or leaves to put down on top of that, something you can make a flat surface with on that log, on those logs, then you can start putting your fat wood shavings on top of that, and then your smaller pieces of fat wood. Now, if you have the advantage of a stump or a down log, shave some bark off of it, drill your hole in it with your knife. And then you can hammer that into the ground. Now, of course, I was using this Opinel folder. I did not drill the hole with that. I probably could have, and I would not recommend using this to hammer with. It's not going to be that's good. So what I used was this kukri to drill the hole and to hammer that wood down into that hole, that piece of fat wood that was sticking up. This is my go-to knife, a kukri. I've got different ones, so and we'll get into knives. I like knives a lot, so we're going to be talking about knives a lot in this video. So the smoke is going to go wherever I go, because that's the way fires work. So I ain't gonna just say I'm gonna turn this around. Alright guys, thanks for joining the channel. There'll be more videos that I'll upload later on. It will not be frequently, unfortunately, due to my work, the type of work I do. Just not going to allow for that. Won't see any more of these type of fires being started because, well, we don't get snow down here. This is historically rare. So, once again, thank you for joining the channel. Trying to keep this channel as short as possible. Sorry for if it seems like I'm rambling. Like I said, it's the first video I've ever made as far as loading this onto YouTube. And we're at 14 minutes and going on 50 seconds now. So, fairly decent sized video, so I'll try and end it here. So once again, if you're just now joining my channel, bear with me, and hopefully we can learn some stuff together. But I just wanted you to see, even in snow, even if you're not used to these type of conditions, because believe me, I'm not. Made a few fires with rain or light rain, but not in the snow. And I just wanted to show you can get it done, even if you don't have a whole lot of experience with it. And this is the first fire I have ever made in the snow. So it did a lot better than I thought it was going to do. And we're going to learn this together. Hurricane season down here on the Gulf Coast, it's a long season, and there'll be plenty of opportunities for making fires in the rain, building tarps to shelter yourself or shelter your fire while you're building it, so you get the best results. We'll talk about survival gear, etc., etc., etc. I don't do this for a living. This is just a hobby. This is just for, we'll get into that later. So anyhow, talk too much. Thanks for joining my channel. Danny Bird, Bayou Bushcraft and Survival. Get out in the woods and have fun, guys. Thanks.